Okay, I will not be foiled. Wherever you are, Mrs. I'd love to say your name. Mrs. Darth Vader.
Mrs. Darth Vader.
You will not stop me.
Obese Darth Vader.
So, funny enough. Oh, and a little side note. Those of you who watched last week's show, Larry Brown was here, somebody who I never liked, hated. We grew up, his dad was a minister. We grew up, our farms were by each other. He moved to Connersville in the 3rd grade, 4th grade. We rode the school bus together. 2008, we kind of started hanging out, dating, met at a reunion. We're starting to talk about, he goes, well, I was in the 4th grade with you. Oh, you did? You had Mrs. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, don't you remember I had the lead in the Christmas play? I was Santa Claus something. Oh, no, that was not. He goes, yeah, I was the class pet. And I'm like, oh, my God. How does this happen in real life? Right? And you're going, this is wrong. Yeah, oh, yeah, you can't make certain things up. And then he goes, well, weren't you in the 6th grade with me with this person? I go, yeah. He goes, I was the pet there. I go, oh, of course you were. Yeah, so this is how life works. It's very interesting. Okay, so fast forward to, I can, again, many stories. I could tell you plethora. I used to live in New York City. I used to live in Washington, D.C., and it wasn't just with like acting or shows or creative things. It would be, at one point, I was engaged to somebody whose father was a diplomat, and if I don't want to talk about that era of my life right now, but let's just say that's what I thought was going to happen, and I was brought in because his family wanted me. Oh, well, no, you're never going to marry this person because we believe in arranged marriages, but you could be the mistress. Well, I was very young. I didn't know what that meant. And I'm going, what? No. So I've had this experience with relationships too, that you're not good enough. You're not, almost anybody I've ever known, had a close relationship with, there was this being kicked out by the family. And I mean tons of it. I mean, over and over again. So the most recent thing, but this is a good one because I was very leery about even wanting to do this because of when it was happening, I knew it was going to be what it was going to be. And so I was kind of, at the end of the day, relieved, but again, it brought all this stuff to the surface again. So about 7, 8, 9 years ago, I started getting calls from these 2 girls in Irvington to come to their house because it was haunted. And some of you will know what I'm talking about. The History Channel. Last summer, I was contacted to be part of the, what did they call that thing? Haunted History. And the segment they were doing was on H.H. Holmes. They call it the Murder Castle. Well, I should have known by what they ended up calling it then. So they started calling from Hollywood. Well, my son was in Hollywood, and I read for people in Hollywood, and I know how Hollywood is. And I was really I was on the phone already saying, well, what's your angle? Oh, well, we heard all these great things about you and how blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't know if I really want to do it. Because I thought, you know what? I know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And they, no. We went, So really nice, so fast forward last summer, backward, I go to the filming. And mind you, they call you like 1 million times, and you got to be there at a certain time, and all this kind of stuff. Well, my story with H.H. Holmes was this. H.H. Holmes he probably killed 300 or 400 people, and he was a doctor and had gone to medical school in Ann Arbor. But he was probably one of the most brilliant, horrible minds that ever existed. His whole thing of even going to medical school was so he could figure out different ways for people to die, or how to create death. And again, was he himself? No, he was a legion. I'm sure he was a major dark energy working through him. So Devil in the White City is a book, famous book that was written about H.H. Holmes, Dr. H.H. Holmes. So in the Chicago World's Fair, he had built this huge, massive hotel that he killed, and he had these different ways he killed people. It's a whole story. You check into it. Or you can watch the haunted thing if you want. But my part's not in there. Okay. So their angle with one of his the last three people he murdered were children. He was doing a insurance scam. So little Howard in Irvington, these girls had lived in this house on Audubon for a long time, and they didn't know what was going on. But so I go in, and the very first time I was ever in there, we cleared this one space, and I said, I think some real sinister person. I don't think they lived right here because I don't know if the house existed then, but I think it was over in this lot. I mean, I didn't know anything about homes. They didn't really know that much. I just started picking up stuff. An intense wind came in that room and blew things around. It was very dramatic. All the stuff that happened in the different years that I had gone to help clear energy with these two women. And it was really interesting stuff. Dan Hall, I've done 7 paranormal movies. I wish you could see the stuff he didn't put in. But it's still good stuff. But, we did a segment in 2010 on the Holmes house. And we have little Howard as an EVP. You actually hear his voice. When I do phenomena stuff, nothing's phenomenal to me because it's or paranormal. So when I do these things, I choose to do them not to exploit or get hung up in that phenomena land. It's about healing. How do we don't want little Howard hanging out here. One of the filmings, we went to a place, it's a bed and breakfast south of, you can figure it out yourself. And we spent the night, and the guy actually told me, do not get rid of this little girl because I make money. I'm like, really? Oh no, she's gone already. She's been, this mentality of some of the ghost people it's insane. It's horrible exploitation. So anyway, so we had, and some of you saw it on Facebook a year ago, almost to the day, on July 30th, a year ago, or 2 years ago, Al Hunter does the ghost tours in Irvington, and many times I would go with him just because I write a lot of stuff that's in his book. I'm in some of his books, and I write my experiences, and his latest book has every chapter has my reflections and things on it. So I would go just to kind of help people that are going on the ghost tour understand another level. It's just not just about historical or these bad things that happen. How do we clear things? So we're in front of this home, and where H.H. Holmes, he was running away, had this little boy, and that's where he murdered us. And yeah, and it wasn't just it was not like you think. It was it was an insurance scheme with his family. His family had actually given his 2 sisters and himself. But it was like, it's really how they caught him was so it's really a big part of the story they didn't really even show in the Haunted History thing. So through the years, we kind of tried to clear and figure out where things happened, what happened. So we took people were snapping pictures. Well, this particular night, 2 years ago, July 30th, I was on edge, and I thought, oh God, I literally thought I have to guard and protect people because he's a fabulous historian. He's not a real ghost hunter, but he's very into he's an amazing historian. So he's talking about this stuff. So I find myself I'm walking around. I was like nervous. So there's a picture, and it's on my Facebook page a few times. And what gets captured, everybody else is still. I'm in a long blue raincoat. I'm in motion. You'll see me moving. The only other figure in the photo that's moving is, I'm sure, is H.H. Holmes. Under the street light, you look, and there's a black, something Darth Vader, there's a black figure with a long coat on. There's no feet, and he's moving. I'm moving. I'm over here in the picture. He's over here in the picture. Everybody else is totally stationary. Somehow I got what they captured, I think, my opinion, when I started to get uneasy, and actually he was over by the one girl that I really, because he did terrible things to women. So he was over by this young girl in the picture. And so I think what got captured on the film was me shifting into that dimensional state that I go into with him. because I was patrol. I mean, I just remember being like, just guard, protect. What is this? And it's on film. Well, so I'm telling you this for a reason. So we had even submitted this to the people doing the film, right? Okay. So the Saturday rolls around last summer, probably about exactly this time, maybe exactly this time a year ago. Their air conditioning was out, and it was probably 100 degrees. It was hot. You came in. So I get a phone call. Mind you, I cleared my schedule. These people have taken over their whole house. Oh, can you come? We're running late. Can you come a couple hours later? I'm like, okay. And it was, the whole thing was like this. We get down there. I get down there. And the people, they were, it was professional people. But there's no, I mean, it was hard because there was no air conditioning and it was very intense. Well, the way I would have done the shoot is not how, of course, they were doing it. They had the people that lived there for 7 years seated, and they wanted them to describe certain things. When my part was supposed to be walking around the house and saying where things happened that happened to them. It was screwy. So from the get-go, I was like, okay, I'm confused. I think you people need some air because I don't even get. Well, and it was this big thing about keeping us apart. I go, no, I know these people for 8 years. It'd be much more interesting if we were interacting together instead of it being a traditional, this has all happened. This isn't stuff we're going to make up, and it's written about. It's written about in books. It's written about in the ghost story. It's on film. We have, and they have their own agenda. So the first thing, this is great too, the first thing that one of the crew goes, they go, are you Marilene? I go, yeah. And they go, wow. We thought you were going to be really old.
Oh my God.
Because I'm 64, but yeah, they saw my age or something. And so I'm going, oh, this is not going to go well. This is like, I mean, and it was just like that. It was like thing after thing. It was just bizarre. Okay. So I thought, okay, just, you're an idiot. And even if you thought that, would you say that to somebody? Yeah. So they go, okay, we want you to do your thing. And mind you, when I have had 4 of my own TV shows. I have directed. I've been on both sides of the camera. I have done film. I have done stage play. So I go in this room, and I didn't want to do anything. I just thought, I'm going to be very natural. I just want to, especially the one part about the healing. I want to explain that part of what I picked up was that the Holmes house, where he was not right there. It was actually this field next to it. And so I'm in it, and they go, no. And I go, what? And no, we want you to say it this way. And I thought, you flipping people. Really? Okay. Say what way? Well, why can't you work in this other thing? I go, what other thing? Well, they told us a different story. I said, no, I guarantee you they didn't tell you a different story. I knew they did. I mean, it got crazy. And then it was like, and this one guy got really belligerent. He was like, well, you turned too fast. It was like, it fell into my earlier life. I mean, it was really, they got really mean. It was really weird. And so I thought, I said, you know what, I need a minute. And I could tell from the other people's, they were kind of needing a minute too, the girls' house, but they were kind of over. It was just odd. It was a really odd experience. And I was trying to maintain cheer. And so I recomposed myself, and I came back in, and I made another entrance and did it the way they wanted to do it, and said certain things and did certain things, but still worked in my stuff, right? And all in all, it was hours of stuff, and in spite of what they were doing, I thought, well, this will be good. This will be an interesting show. And I even had the picture. They didn't care about looking at the picture. Their next stop was Gettysburg. Well, many of you have seen my pictures from Gettysburg. They didn't even know how to look at the pictures from Gettysburg. There's nobody in the world that has pictures like that happened to our ghost group, and pictures of me with the fire and the different things. Nobody. And they didn't even want to care. They didn't have. So this, I knew then. I thought they have an agenda. It's just their agenda about what they're doing. But what I think I found the most interesting, if they're doing haunted whatever, they really, because a lot of people said they really were doing the historical aspect of haunt, which is they did really go into a lot of the haunted, because I mean there was so much that happened at that house. They really glossed over it. So I didn't even think about promoting it, because that was also the last few days of that where I was under attack again with some other stuff with my refinance thing. It's not gone through yet. The last of everything should be today, have been maybe collected today. So anyway, I was just, so middle of the night I'm going, oh my God, because people had called me and said, oh, the show's going to be on. Well, I should have known logically because they didn't tell me. But I've been through things before where I was on TV. I've had that experience too, where things I've been in without my permission were used, okay? I've been on both sides of it. So I thought, so 2, 3 in the morning I'm putting, oh, please watch. And it wasn't about the ego. I thought, well, this would be interesting to see. At least there'll be a healing aspect to this. So people are watching the watching the show. I put the picture up. Jeff Mudgett has written a book. He's a descendant of, he was the main guy in the thing, and he's a descendant of H.H. Holmes. And he's actually, and I put it on his page, and he started going, well, we have to validate this picture. It could be a fake. Well, people go, oh, no, that's not fake. That's real. So he's actually been really nice. Well, even on his page, he was acting like, oh, you're awesome in this or something. So I don't think he even knew. They don't let you know. Even people, they don't, it's all what they want to do. So everybody's watching the show down to me. I'm getting down to it, and I thought, nope, this is what, and I could not even believe the little amount they had on with the girls that lived there, their experience, and the most important parts. That's really how they caught Holmes. They started finding the fragmented, he'd burned them up in this, they figured out how to catch him. And it was actually around this whole thing that happened in Indiana. They kind of, if you watch the piece, they just glossed over it. And it was just like it was not. So it was so interesting because in one level, I will have to admit, I was relieved because there had been so much around the filming of it that was not pleasant and not the way I would have wanted to do it. So on one level I was relieved, but then another, it brought all this stuff up again about how does this happen? How do you get right to this thing and it's not there? And again, like what manifested on this situation here. So I took it, and that's why Spirit told me to talk about it tonight, to bring it into focus again, to just, because it's a thing, obviously, I don't want to stay stuck in, I don't want to keep going, I don't want to have a reaction of, well, I'm never going to try to do things again. It's not like that. So I figured, well, I'll just share that story and I shared that story not for anybody to feel sorry for, but to show how people in authority, especially over children, can really be harmful and negative and hurt people. And it's something that, and how it can, no matter, you can be a certain age chronologically, but you can be so many ages emotionally. And, I wish I could say this on the air, what I finally did as an adult. I'll give you a clue.
Please.
So, through the years, I did a lot of work. And then my mom, too, my poor mom, she's, even into when she had the dementia, she'd go, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Why did I let that woman? Then she wrote a book about her life, and she actually put some of the stuff in there. And she goes, I'm so sorry. Well, a few years later, the same individual didn't like what the principal was saying on the loudspeaker. In the old days, they had loudspeaker. The principal would make announcements, and she went in and grabbed the thing, and he had a heart attack soon after that. Oh yeah, now this was some thick stuff. So anyway, about 15 years ago, my mom and I, we would go back to Connersville sometimes. We'd go back, a couple times we went back to the 2 houses we lived in. The whole time I was there. It's weird, in the little towns, they'll let you go in, knock on the door, let you come in. And it's really cool because it's like very empowering. We went back to the schools. We went back to places. Because another thing that had happened to me in junior high, I was in the 7th grade, whatever, and I was leaning against a wall, and a boy comes along and grabs my legs and from out in front of me, and I broke my tailbone. And up until that point, I was very athletic, but I think it also was a jarring or awakening of the Kundalini. I think it did some other things, but it was very. So I went back to that hallway, and I did a healing, and I did a blessing, and I've talked about this in another oracle, but years later, I actually ended up being in a healing with this person that did that. So I said, I need to find this woman's grave. So, and she was in the same cemetery my father was in. And actually, I found a couple people's graves. So I just, went over, and I just felt I just talked to them. And it wasn't like hateful or mean or negative. I was just like, you know what, this is what you did, and I'm going to be a voice for probably lots of teachers, people, children that you hurt, and you need to take responsibility for this. And it felt it was such a healing thing to do. And I wasn't thinking like, well, haha, you're dead. I mean, I really didn't. I mean, you might think I might have thought that, but I didn't. And yeah, it was a very empowering. There's more of the story, but I'm not going to talk about it in this. But something else I did. But anyway, you can use your imagination on that one. It was kind of like marking territory. Let's just say.
You go, girl.
And if anybody told me I would ever be capable or think of doing something like that, not me, and not 15 years ago. Oh, yeah, I did. And my mother was like, oh, my God. And I felt so good. And it just helped. I thought, you know what? That's it. So, yeah, it shocked me. But and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you will feel things, and you just have to do them. You don't want to get sick from bad things that happen to you, because that's what happens to so many adults. They've had abusive parents or abusive people, and you keep it inside. So and a lot of interesting things. Once that happened, tons of interesting things happened actually between my mother and I, because we were always close, but we got even closer because it was that elephant in the room, right? So, any questions? Anything anybody wants to talk about before we do meditation? There's so much going on. Yeah. Lots of animal stories. Tons of people I know who animals made transition or had crisis. Animals are extensions of ourselves. My red-haired little Adobe girl passed over in December. Then this weekend I had a huge crisis with Apache, a big Malamute. He ate. You guys can see this out here. I don't know how to show this. This is why I'm retarded. Okay. Does anybody know how would I do this? Oh, there it is. Oh, there we are. He ate this gourd. Or part of this gourd. And it's a gourd. I had actually 3 or 4 of these gourds, and I bought them at Serpent Mound, from a woman that made them around Serpent Mound, 11/11/11. And yeah, and I also, some of you will remember the summer solstice of that, right before that one, I had a big flood. Then we had an accident the next day, and the summer solstice near the mountain. Wait. So all of a sudden, I'm going, oh my God, he ate this gourd, and all of a sudden he got deathly. I mean, like, he was not moving, and he weighs over 100 pounds. He's like a big baby Huey. He's a Malamute, huge. And I tell you, he loves to eat. He wasn't eating. He had a fever. I mean, I was horrified. So I waited. I just did a lot of prayers, a lot of meditation, a lot of healing. I knew on another level part of what it was, or where the energies were about and coming from. So I just had to run energy. And the last 2 days, he was at the vets all day getting fluids and IVs to get him to move this stuff. And what we figured out, what made him probably sick was probably the outside was lacquered. So he got very toxed out from the lacquer. And then the mysterious missing piece, I remember today, was a leg. So I think that's probably what's still. So it's been an interesting journey of all kinds of stuff. It's just, and other people were calling about their pets. I had put my pet, and I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to have to? But it brought a lot of cool things. And both of my dogs supposedly have developed allergies. Well, they never had allergies. They're like 19 years old. It's because of Adobe dying. They're very sad. Well, when he was at Pat Pounds at Dr. Arnold's, it's like he was having a spa day because they like to have all the attention. So he didn't once, they go, we didn't see him biting or licking his fur at all. I'm going, yes, because it's all beamed on here. And when it was being away from Scott, he got to get out. And so I think he needed to be paid attention to. That's what happens. Our kids, our animals, ourselves, something will get out of balance if we're not paying enough attention or whatever. But it was a myriad of things. So it's too deep to even go into, but it was just kind of it had been a few weeks and days and moments of, wow, and this. Okay, but I wasn't going to go there. I thought, no, you're not killing this dog. This dog is not taking on whatever the stuff that's being beamed on me is not, we're going to redirect it. And so I just laid down with him and spent hours holding him and moving energy. So, and that's what happens too. And we're all experiencing this. You can get so tired, so overwhelmed that you finally go, I can't, it's overload, right? And so you just kind of disconnect. And that when you disconnect, that's when the bad things happen. And so at the point that this had happened to him, I was at that point where, and it has a lot to do with another story for another time about a purposeful negative thing that was happening around my mortgage. Somebody who had some power was actually trying to block it. And I knew for sure that was true. And it's like, wow. And it was right on the heels. It was the same. Oh, that show was Friday, right? That day was when I got verification on some of that purposeful stuff. And then that show happened that night. Then Saturday, Apache collapsed. So it was like, and along with like a million other things. So it was, yeah. But it's not just me. It was everywhere. Because my phone, people were coming to the door. People were calling me up. People were sending emails. What in the heck is going on? Well, we are in God's vacuum cleaner. And I always say the sharpest knife cuts the quickest. Do you want to stay in a limbo? Do you want to stay in a confused state of not totally understanding, but just staying in the state? No, you want the light to go into the darkest places of your being and expose the things once and for all so they're not there. Because when they're not there anymore, you won't keep experiencing it. Just how it works. And you ascend up. You ascend up. And that's what happened to me with this, because I was already, in a way, I was disappointed, but at the same time I was like, you know what, I didn't like the way they were doing so anyways, who cares? Maybe I'm relieved that I wasn't in it, because you don't know what, and then you never know what they're going to use. They will take sentences and take other sentences out, and that's just part of Hollywood. So, yeah, and then it's really inspired me again I'm trying to figure out a way to get a camera, really nice movie camera, and just do my own stuff. Not have Murphy's Law out there that, things are, or have 2 or 3 in case that camera breaks or whatever. So, but again, I would encourage all of you, whatever your things in your life, they are, I guarantee you, totally activated. And if you don't get tired, because you're going to get tired from it, but don't run away from it. And don't let it defeat you. Don't let it define you. Don't let it control you. Find a way to make a positive out of any of the adversity that you're going through. And know that really it is about forcing you out of a place that you've been in. And you've got a choice. You can stay and stew and let it activate these memories and then really get madder and madder and not let it go and descend down into lower frequency and keep attracting more chaotic energy. Or you can go, okay, I'm still feeling this, I get it, but keep working, and then all of a sudden you're going to feel like you're going to ascend, and you'll get a different perspective on all kinds of things around the pattern, and you won't be attached with it. So we'll do a short meditation, and it's going to be about Ascension, basically. And again, if you've meditated a lot, if you've never meditated, this is simple. All you have to do is know that what we do here is dimensional work. It's safe. It's through the work of Holy Spirit. This has nothing to do with any type of evoking or conjuring, or I'm not into any of that. I work purely with the light, always have. It's my path. And I'm a firm believer that when all of the bodies are in one place at one time, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and you're free from that fear, and you're in that place of unconditional love, that's when miraculous types of healing can happen. So I'd invite all of you to feel safe enough to be open to receive. Know that healing is real. Know that you deserve a happy, joyful life. Know that you are so loved, so needed on this earth right now to be who you are. It's not about being somebody else or anything. It's who you are. You are loved unconditionally as you are. So I want you to know and feel the beauty of the earth, because when you turn television on, all you're going to hear is about war, terrorism, 72 murders to date in Indianapolis. Shocking. The suicide rate is beyond whatever. This is the last of the drama of the outer world. And the numbers and the figures and the things they choose to show you are slices of life that are so minute compared to the wondrous, miraculous things that happen on this earth. The great minds, the great lives, the wonderful people that really exist out there. So welcome to the real world of good things, and knowing that the majority of the people and the consciousness on this earth are wonderful and beautiful beings of light. It's safe to be who you are. It's safe to let your light shine. It's safe to bring all of who you are into this realm, into your life in this time. Again, in accordance only with each person's free will and highest good, we ask the bodies to align. And more than that, we also know that we are always aligned. We ask for that illusion, that last illusion of separation, that last illusion that there is a mental, a spiritual, a physical, emotional body to be gone. And for all of us to comprehend and understand and feel they're not separate. There's only one big body of God, one big body of the universe. And I want you to feel how good it is to be part of that light and know that you are safe. Know that no matter what you've done, how you've missed the mark, you're being healed. All the things you're experiencing are bringing you into this moment of healing. Physician, heal thyself. Love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love your neighbor any more than you love yourself. You can't heal anybody else if you're not healed. Open to receive the healing. Oh, all you have to do is feel safe enough to open your heart. Prayer is when we send out, meditation is when we receive. All the great saints and masters, Jesus, Buddha, have talked about. Be in a constant state of prayer and meditation. What they're talking about is when there's no difference between sending and receiving. There's no difference between the right brain, left brain. It's when you're in the single eye. Except the single eye. When you're in that single higher frequency, you can go into the kingdom. Except you become as a child. You can't go into the kingdom. In the Gnostic teachings of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, great mysteries were taught. Except you become a man, except a woman become a man, she cannot enter the kingdom. Except a man become a woman, he cannot enter the kingdom. We're talking about the yin and the yang, we're talking about the inner soulmate, the inner self is the opposite of the outer. And except you come into that union, you come out of that idea of duality. So I want you to feel how whole, how healed you are, how loved you are, how needed you are. But beyond that, it's your time to shine. It's your time to let go of the fear that you have to hide your light under the bushel basket. It's time to come out of hiding. We've all gone through things of persecution, victimization, disappointment, rejection. We've all had very disappointing things happen in relationships. The important relationship you want to focus on right now is the relationship you have with yourself and with God, with the beloved. And that is so, that energy, that love, that acceptance of you as who you are, where you are. It's not next week I'll be in a better place that I can open to receive. No, you're there now. You deserve unconditional love. You deserve healing. You deserve joy. You deserve the suffering to be done. And I want you to feel, we talk a lot about being a walking tree, and that we're the Garden of Eden is, we didn't leave it. We fell through fear that we were separate from it. You're in your garden. Now what you need to do is water that garden. You want to nurture your garden. Many of us have trouble. We can manifest, we do things, but we forget about reciprocal energy, or we manifest something, but we don't put loving, nurturing, sustenance, sustaining energy into what we've created. So again, I want you to feel how immense you are. You're this huge being of light. You go out 30, 40, 50 feet. You have a root system that goes down from the bottoms of the feet, down from the root chakra, down deep, deep, deep into the earth. And as deep as your energies of the root system is there, you have this other incredible root system that goes up into the stars. We are stardust. We are golden. We are made from the stars. We are of heaven and we are of earth. We are both. And so as you feel this deep, deep, deep connection with the earth, with the Divine Mother, with the magnetic energy, I also want you to feel the amazing electrical, and not a punishing electrical energy of the Father. Father Sky, Father immense energy from the stars that's electrical in nature. And that magnetic energy and that electrical energy are joining together. They're creating new life in every cell of your body. I want you just to feel yourself coming alive. We ask all pictures of death to be turned into pictures of life, all pictures of fear to be transmuted into pictures of unconditional love and truth. It's safe to be who you are. It's safe to let this light and this life come into every cell of your being. We have a higher DNA. We have a divine blueprint. Again, in accordance with each person's free will and highest good, we ask for an activation of that original divine blueprint that we were created from to manifest free and clear, to emerge into this level in a way that fits with all the bigger picture of the universe, to bring your peace, our peace, into divine right order. There are many ancestors here tonight because there is a healing taking place, as above, so below. There's energy moving here to clear the sins of the fathers that go through 7 generations. When scriptures talk about sins of the fathers that go through 7 generations, they're talking about weaknesses of the body, mind, and spirit that have been carried down, handed down in the lower DNA. We ask that there be a healing and a cleansing of those patterns. We ask that whatever those patterns be, whether it be for a propensity for weaknesses for diabetes or heart or anything in the physical or emotional stories that happen over and over again, abuse, molestation, things not happening the way they should happen, all the storylines, all the different levels in the DNA that have been repeated. I want you to see yourself as a vessel for the light, a vessel with the light, and know that your divine blueprint is way more powerful than the lower DNA. I want you to feel the connection of the Divine Mother, Divine Father. There's a storm brewing outside. I think I hear thunder and lightning. I hear sky. It's okay, sky. As we talked about before, the weather will work with what we're doing. So feel this energy of this, the rain and the cleansing and the energy that's moving outside. Let it come into your vibration. Become one with it. Again, in accordance with each person's free will and highest good, we ask that the light go into every corner, every cell, every particle of our being, and ferret out anywhere that there's the last of a hook that's toxic, a last of a connection, a negative umbilical cord, any seeds of things that are not right, that are not you, that are not real, things that no longer have anything to do with you or your old story. We ask all this stuff to be filled with light. But we want to go down to that root system because we don't want to just cut the cords like we do many times. We want to make sure they don't grow back. I want you to feel the presence of Holy Spirit, the presence of the Archangel Michael, and the mighty energy moving through here to heal, to restore, to transmute, and to aid you in this ascension. It's safe to be a spiritual being in a physical body on the earth at this time. It's safe to have heaven on earth. It's safe to die to the old self and to ascend into the real you. So again, let all this energy that's moving in the weather, in the frequencies that are here tonight, let them transmute, let them activate. Let all the things that need to be pulled out by the root that are no longer right, that are toxic, we ask them to be literally pulled out by the root, never to be experienced or to regrow. And in this activation of yourself, your individual divine blueprint, know that it's real. Know that you are so loved. Know that you were created out of the love of the Divine Mother, Divine Father. Know that you are such a manifestation of light and love. And we want to go down to the deepest part where fear is lingering, attachment is lingering, and even self-doubt or negative thoughts that you may have towards yourself. We ask all that to come forward and be pulled out by the roots. It's not about going through years of therapy or these kind of things. It's time for it to be done. It's time to come up out of that basement, come up out of that subconscious mind. Bring it to the conscious mind. Let that light fill that cellar. Let it find everywhere that the light can go to transmute. We ask the subconscious mind to be no longer subconscious, but to become integrated with the conscious mind. We ask those minds to go up into the lower mind and to ascend up into higher consciousness, the high self. The pilot self. We all have a part of ourself that's like flying an airplane. It's like we have this big, big picture. And it's not just something you access through prayer, meditation, or in dreams. This is real. This is part of you. Acknowledge and bring this, all the different levels of you, into a marriage, into a union. We ask all pictures of death to be turned into pictures of life, all pictures of fear to be transmuted into pictures of unconditional love and truth. Each of you has your own special talents and gifts and abilities and reasons why you are here on this earth. We ask that for each individual, and only in the way that's right and in accordance with your free will and highest good. We ask these gifts to be activated, to safely be integrated, in a way that brings happiness, fulfillment, joy for yourself, for others. It's safe to feel and be empathic, but not in a way that it makes you not want to leave your house. So many people are empathic, or they feel, or they see with the inner eye, but they're so overwhelmed, and the first things they see are negative things. No, it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the true gifts of Holy Spirit. Safe to feel empathically in a way that's balanced. You're not here to transmute or take on other people's pain or feel their pain. Feel the wholeness, the oneness, feel the light, healing yourself and healing those you're feeling that connection with. We ask for true empathic abilities to come forward that bring guidance and healing and light, not suffering or disempowering or being overwhelmed. We ask for a clearing of those concepts about that empathic path. It's a true path, but it's not about suffering. It's not about being so sensitive you can't do anything. So many have this gift of being an empath. Be empathic. Feel that gift, but be in your own self. It's not about you losing yourself. You were created as a unique soul. Feel the power of your own individual soul and how beautiful that soul is, and how that soul does have a twin flame, does have a soulmate. You have within your being that connection with the beloved, with the inner soulmate, with that yin-yang, with that wholeness. I want you to feel that energy. that empowerment of wholeness, and then let the gifts come in. Don't let the gifts define you. You want your body temple, you want your being to be balanced so that the gifts of healing or interpreting dreams or all the different gifts, many gifts of the Holy Spirit, you want them to come into a whole manifested form, and they can only come in a right way to the degree you are whole and integrated. We ask for a safe opening of the third eye, of the inner eye. Safe to see with the inner eye, but from a place of wholeness and balance. Many of you are true mystics. Mystics see things, they see the big, big, big picture. It's free from the fear. It's free from even the lower astral psychic realms. It's a very true path. We ask for this path to open in a right way and be revealed to everyone that it's right for. Safe to open to your own true spiritual mystical path. We each have one. It's your story, your path, your way of experiencing this world and helping this world and connecting and being a conduit with the light. And yes, I want you to be right in the center of the storm. Be in the center, a centered place. I want you to be in the eye of the hurricane that is swirling around and the tornadoes that are cleansing the earth and cleansing you. But you can choose to do this where you're not getting beaten up, or you're not being victimized, or you're not being torn apart. Know that what is happening for a reason. Let all that needs to be taken away, let it go. Let go of anything that is toxic. Give yourself permission in this moment that you're willing to let go of anything on any level that is not of the light, that's not here for your highest good, that's no longer serving you or serving the light. This could end up being people. This could end up being objects. This could end up ways of thinking, ways of doing things. Surrender to that higher path that is already here. Open. Be in that space. You are the dot. You're off. That wheel has stopped. That merry-go-round has stopped. It's like when John Lennon said, I just had to let it go. He got off of the merry-go-round. You don't have to get off of the way he got off the merry-go-round. You can be in your body and live your life free from that wheel of suffering, free from that repetition of patterns or what other people want you to do or be. You can disconnect and be open at the same time. It's one of the most ancient symbols. The circle and the dot. You're the dot now. You are off the wheel. It has stopped. You are a magnet. You are attracting only your highest good. I want you to feel what a beautiful, glowing, magnetic being of light that you are. All that you need, all that you want, you have within you in this divine blueprint that's activated, and it will come to you. Let go of that fear of you missing it, or you have to go out here, or you have to do this, or you have to do all these things. What you need to do is be you and be this dot and be centered and work inwardly and feel that flame, feel that beautiful energy that you are. And again, it's safe to totally surrender to the light. It's safe to open to receive. It's safe to actualize unconditional love for yourself, for others. It's safe to let go of the facades, the layering that you've put on yourself to not feel. Those places in your heart that, for whatever reason, we hang on to, where we feel so used or abandoned or victimized or tortured or controlled. Let it go. It's not who you are. Take your power back. We ask for a gathering of the last, on any level, of cords that are binding you, things that are binding you, to things that are not real, to things that will bring toxicity and suffering and pain to you. They are pulled up by the root, and now we want to cut those cords. We ask the Archangel Michael to sever all negative cords that are binding you into past suffering and negativity. We ask for restoration of the body, mind, and spirit. We ask all pictures of aging to be turned into pictures of youthing. We ask the inner child, that pure, innocent being that we are, to integrate into the adult self, be healed and integrated and at one, at peace. We send forgiveness to ourselves, to others. We ask the last of those things that are hard to understand, that are hard to not get caught up in. We ask for healing and understanding and a transmutation of energy in the bigger picture. And we forgive ourselves and we forgive others. We ask this energy to spread out to all sentient beings, to all life. We pray for the ending of suffering. We ask that veil to be lifted, that fear to be transmuted, and all the abundance and joy and happiness to come into manifested form. We ask the immune systems to be bolstered, the adrenal glands to be restored. So much light, so much energy is coming into the physical body that people are overwhelmed, and the endocrine system, which is part of the chakra system, is overwhelmed. Open to the larger, when you feel this energy and you feel these things happening to you during the day, during the night, let the energy move into this big, let it fill this bigger part of you, this big energy that you are. The last layers of old things are being pulled down into the earth to be transmuted. Let it go. Let that heavy burden Let those places in your body that you hold tension, that you hold fear, that you hold old things, let it go. We ask all the memory at the genetic cellular level of things that are holding you in a negative space. We ask that to be cleared. Again, we ask for restoration of body, mind, and spirit. Wholeness, wellness, true path, true way to bring your abilities into this life for expression. We know that there's a time, and it's here, it's coming, we're in it, where even the darkest of places of energy of the fallen angels, that they will be healed and restored, and we send light, and we ask for a quickening. Of that time. Where all creation is restored to harmony, peace, balance, frequency of love, unconditional love. And when you're ready, return to the consciousness of this room. Emerge feeling restored, renewed. We ask this process of healing, integrating, to continue into the night, into the dreams, into the days to come, and to radiate out. They're like beacons of light that will affect so many others by how you are in your life. There's a tremendous heat moving through your bodies. Tremendous fiery light moving through this place. Let it burn up the dross. Let it go. Leave it behind. Let it transmute. It's no longer binding, controlling in your space. Let it go. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Whoa. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Very interesting the way the energy worked. It went down deep and it pushed up and then it came back down. There was a lot of movement. Again, lots and lots and lots of just scraping away layers and layers and layers of things. And so I would advise everybody, again, when we take a shower, when we take a bath, we do more than cleanse the aura or the body, we cleanse the aura. So you've moved lots of energy today. Go home, take a shower, take a bath, whatever, and let all this stuff keep going. Let it go. Let it go. And you'll find over the next few hours, you'll find over the next few days, a new clarity. You're going to find a clarity that you will be able to stay in. It won't be the kind of thing where you, some very real transformation happened tonight. People, you left lots of stuff behind, it's gone. And so this place of centeredness, this place of wholeness, this place of your truth, of your being, you're in your space now. You're integrated into your space. So it's a good thing. Very, very good. So thank you all for coming, and keep in touch, because, and I want to hear about your experiences, because I know they're going to be good. I know it. Wow. Okay, I took my glasses off.